Hi, my name is Jenny Olson, and I'm a member of the Physical Simple group. Whether you're someone who is joining that group and wants to get to know Simple, or whether you've just stumbled across this on the internet, we want to walk you through the process of Simple and why I find that it's so meaningful for me and why our group finds it's meaningful. Simple stands for Study, Meditate, Pray, Live. It's really for people who are looking for a way to engage in the Bible in deeper, more meaningful ways. And maybe you've grown up reading a lot of the Bible and you're looking for new ways that the Bible might be meaningful. Or you're new to this faith journey and you're just looking for a way that you might read the Bible more than just reading the words and closing it and moving on in your day. So let's start with our website. We have a website that's called simplepractice.com, simple spelled SMPL practice.com. There's a plethora of great resources here. Let's start with, if you're a part of our physical group, we always choose a passage that we read together, and obviously you're welcome to use this passage if you're not a part of the physical group also. So if I scroll down, here is where I can find the daily readings that we're doing. So, for example, it might say that on Monday, I'm reading only 4 verses. So you'll see it's very small chunks. Tuesday, I'm reading about 20 verses. You'll see it even takes us more than a week to read Luke 1. So it's really slowing down as you are looking at these Bible passages. If you're looking for other passages and how we've broken them down, you can click on this previous studies and we have lots of different ones. Or obviously you can take your own passages and break them down as you see fit. So let's talk about the actual practice. When we click on these simple instructions, here's a little graphic organizer that just gives you the idea of what it might look like to study, meditate, pray. Now, this is not a checklist. It's not a start here, get to the end, and move on to the next. These are just things to consider as you're studying. So let's start with prepare. How are you going to find a quiet spot? How are you going to minimize distractions? Talk to anybody who lives in the same household as you to go ahead and let them know when you're going to do it and that you don't want to be interrupted. We actually suggest that you set a 30-minute timer. In fact, a lot of times people who start this practice report that maybe in the first 10 minutes they feel like they're done, and then they really have to kind of push past that hump. But as they're pushing past that hump, they're finding so much rich biblical truth. And eventually, we almost feel like 30 minutes isn't even enough because there's so much that God has for us in that time. Close your eyes, calm your breathing, relax your body, focus on God. Then you actually read the passage, you actually study it. Do you understand what it means? Do you think there's any context that you're not understanding? Some people like to paraphrase it for themselves, and some people like to read a commentary, especially if there's something they may not be understanding. Then you're going to move on to meditate, which is really the bulk of this simple practice. Even though there's 30 minutes, it's not 4 even chunks of in that 30 minutes. The bulk of the time will be spent on this meditation, which is really looking at the Bible and thinking about the passage and the truth in it. Now, there are about 8 strategies that our current group is using as we are reading the Bible, but there are lots of ways that you might meditate on the Bible. If you are someone who stumbled on this, you might think of this as a choose your own adventure where you get to choose which strategy. If you're a part of our physical group, you'll see that in this D column, it will tell you what practice we're doing for a specific set of weeks. And in our physical group, we'll talk about that practice before we start the next 2 weeks. If you need to learn more about these practices, you can scroll to the second page and we have lots of great information. We also have some great information back on our website where you can click on one of these links to learn more. As I was editing, I realized that last piece didn't come out quite right. My video got unsynced, so forgive me for the jump cut. The last 2 sections that we need to go through are the pray and the live. A lot of people who have grown up in churches are pretty comfortable with prayer. If prayer is new to you, there are lots of things you can think about in this column. But the big revelation, at least for me in this, is to think about the truth that I just learned and pray that into my daily life. Pray that that would be so real and so tangible that I actually take it with me, which brings us right into the live category. Why do we read scripture if not to try to change our daily lives and actually live it out? So there are 3 ways that you might choose to do that. You might just choose one of them each day. Some days you might have a why now. Why did God teach you this specific truth in this specific season? And then sometimes there might be a gem that you take with you, that biblical truth that over and over again you are going to think about throughout the day and try to almost continually pray that into your life. Or finally, there might be something that you've learned that now that you know it, you have to go out and do something. You feel that calling from the Spirit to go out and actually do something tangibly in your daily life. I hope that this video has been helpful, and I hope that you feel like you better understand simple. If you have any questions, if you scroll down to the bottom, you will see we have this great email address that you can send any questions to. Or obviously, if you're in our physical group, we'll see you on Sunday, and feel free to bring your questions there. Thanks.